Okay, so today by popular demand, some of the guys in the MR2 community want me to make a video about how to wrap each individual piece. So you're going to want to plan out how you're going to cut. You want to use the least amount of material needed and the most advantageous use of materials you can think of. So what I like to do is measure out what my longest pieces are. So my longest pieces are the front bumper and the back bumper. Those are ideally about 8 feet long, and then the side skirts. The side skirts are about 6.5 feet long or something like that. I cut like a 7 foot. But so and then you want to measure how much you got to use for the front bumper, right? So from the bottom to the top is probably about 2.5 feet, and then on the back bumper from the top to the bottom, if you're if you're doing the bumper in 2 pieces, it's gonna be about 3 feet, right? So the roll comes in 5 foot tall and however many feet long, right? So the front and the back bumper together could be one cut. So what you want to do is cut your 8 feet long, and then you can use that 8 feet long piece to do both the front and the back bumper. So you measure it out, you cut each individual piece, roll it up, and label them. Measure out from the door all the way to the back fender, back quarter panel, and then from the bottom of the door to the top of the quarter panel is probably about 4.5 feet or so. What you can do is make one piece that's the length of the whole thing. From one piece of side skirt to the next is only about 1 foot. The right front fender and the left front fender, they're both about 3 feet of material. Since the bottom gets covered up pretty good, but measure it out and see how you can take advantage of your cuts. The roll comes in 5 foot long, but from here to there is only about, to the end of that is only about 4.5 feet. So you only need to cut a piece that is like from there to there, which is about 3 feet long, and on the hood it's like 4.5 feet by 4.5 feet. So you can just do a square, and you don't waste that much material. So we'll start with the hood. The hood, what you're gonna want to do is lay down this middle section first, and then once you get to these corners or these lines right here, you tack them down to the lines, and then you stretch out to here on the sides. Once you get to here, you're gonna want to lay into this recess first. Once you lay this whole recess from here, you can stretch over this hump, and then you should have no stretch on this part, and you just lay past there and you cut along that seam. So the bumper, what you're gonna want to do is, okay, this flat part you want to use that as a starting point. And up here I made some mistakes. I'm gonna have to redo the bumper at some point, but you'll get some bunching up here if you pull it straight up. So what you want to do is pull this way towards that light and pull this way. You'll have a whole bunch of lines just going diagonal on either side, and that's okay, because once you get to the light part, you just want to reach in there and pull it up. You'll get rid of those diagonal lines. If you stretch it across the front flat part to this bend right here, you just want to make it across the bend. You just pull it that way. So once you stretch it all the way to here, you can reach in and pull up, and then you'll be good to go. So what you want to do is inlay in here and inlay right down here. So where these 90-degree bends are, you want to make the inlay there. I have a front lip, and my front lip I left it plastic dip because I didn't really want to deal with wrapping the front lip, and it's not painted. So I feel like a whole surface that is not painted is just smooth fiberglass. won't stick very well, so I didn't want to mess with that until I paint it. Alright, moving on to the fender. The fender's a little tricky. What you're going to want to do is, I know it's very tempting to lay it across the top and then drape it down the bottom and bridge this little indent that all of us have on our fenders, unless you're wide body. So but what I found was better, because on this film I want to use the least amount of heat possible. So what I did was I lay the initial piece along this ridge right here, right, and then I work it into the fender this way, so that I can lay into this indent right here on the fender line without any stretch, or stretching into the bridge, because when you stretch into those indents over time, the amount of stretch that's coming out, or the amount of force that's pulling it out, is becomes stronger than the glue. So you could have a situation where you'll start to get lifts, but there's nothing you can do, no matter how much you heat it, to make it stick to that indent, because the material wants to retract when the sun is out and it's hot. You got the stretch when it's cool, but when the sun heats it, the material gets hot, it's going to want to pull back to its original shape. So that's why on the fender, I lay into the fender all along this line right here as much as I can, and then I tack it down on the top part right here, and then I stretch it over. So there'll be some, so you do a little bit of stretch to make it over this curved line right here, and then the rest should be smooth sailing. Right down here, you'll get some bridging no matter what, but since this is not a deep of an indent right around here, it's okay to just push it in once you lay it into here, about here or so. So anyway, I have the fenders, the side skirts on, so I take the side skirts off and I wrap it all the way down to about here on the fender. You can go all the way down if you like. Okay, the window frame. Now the window frame, I did not do it in one piece, I did it in 3 pieces. Why? Because it doesn't really make sense to cut the window frame out and just use a whole piece. Now you could use the area inside the window frame in conjunction with one of these. Only one fender fits in there, you lose some material. So anyway, at this point here, you see where this line on top comes down. I make the cut to line up right about near there. So over here I line it up to this ridge, and I think it still looks good. You can always use your scrap pieces and keep redoing it over and over till how you like it. So that's easy to do. You do it in 3 pieces, it still looks clean. Okay, so moving on to the door. The door, it looks simple, but it's a little bit complicated. You have to take the mirrors off, of course. Once you take the mirrors off, it's from the inside. You can wrap this piece and this piece on the mirror. You'll have to go see how you wrap a mirror. Those are kind of hard. But anyway, once the mirror is off, what you want to do is you want to wrap the door handle first. So the door handle is in multiple pieces. This door handle, you're going to want to wrap this latch in one piece, right? And then you're going to want to lay in on the inside, and then use some knifeless tape to cut around this edge right here where it dips in, right? So so there's an inlay all up in here, okay? And then once you have this wrapped and the inside wrapped, you're gonna want to wrap the outside part for third. And with knifeless tape, you should be able to cut along this line, and as you can see, you can barely tell that there's a cut there. As long as you cut along the seam, you can't really tell that something's there. So after you do the whole door handle, that is when, and you have it to how you like it, that is when you do the whole door itself. Because when you wrap the whole door, you're gonna want to cut along this ledge, this edge right here, very carefully, and cut it towards this side and not the outside, because if you mess up on the big piece, you're gonna redo the big piece and waste more material. These little pieces, you can, if you mess up, you can always re-wrap them using scrap. So anyway, okay, side skirts are pretty self-explanatory. You can do this off of the car. I do recommend doing it while it's not on the car if you can. So what you want to do is lay into these recesses first. Once you have that successful, don't peel off the backing. Once you wrap it up to this point, that's when you should peel off the backing and then wrap the whole thing. What you want to do is wrap it so that it wraps over the side skirt, so when you put it on, it has a nice, you know, a nice tucked look to it. Over here in the back, I like to wrap as far back as I can, clean it up real good, and I did do this in 2 pieces because I didn't want to cut this piece so long. That wraparound is kind of hard to do, so, and it's behind the wheels, so you can't really see it. Okay, so this part right down here, it will show, and I have that wrapped in carbon fiber. I think it's kind of nice, but if you close the door, you can see that it will show there ever so slightly, so you can do a color play with that. On this one, so this is the quarter panel. Quarter panel is pretty hard. This is the harder side of the quarter panel because it has the antenna. Here you want to wrap and cut along the edge with the door closed, so it's a nice even cut, and you want to wrap all the way down to here. Now you only want to cut with the door closed up to about this point, and then you kind of want to cut with the door open down here, because if you cut with the door closed down to here, you might cut a little too short, and this part won't be out far enough. So when you close the door, see, I barely cut it out far enough where you can't see the gray, but you can still see a little bit. I need to go in more. On the quarter panel, you have to take apart the side skirt and the vent. So what you want to do is take the antenna off, and you still have this piece left. Now my piece is old, so I did crack it a little bit, so I had to glue it back together and then spray it with some black paint. But right here you can see some discoloration, so I kind of messed up because I tried to heat it back into here, and I heated it too much, but you can't really tell from a decent amount of distance away. So anyway, once you have that thing off, what you want to do on this quarter panel is the same thing as the front fender. It's very tempting to start from the top, but what you want to do is start from the bottom here and do this part first. Okay, and then like the front fender, you want to lay into this line right here, and once you have that laid in, and then you have all this tacked down, you can tack it down along this top line, and that's when you can stretch it to fit your needs. So you want to stretch it over to this hump right here, and then once you get to this antenna thing, you keep it right there, and then once you get up to here, you cut the antenna part out. Cut it very small hole, and then you can stretch the hole bigger as you need to. Don't worry about cutting the hole too small, because you can always go bigger, but if you cut it too big, you mess up the whole panel. Towards this part, you're gonna wrap it over to here, and this is not so bad of an indent. You can just bridge this gap if you have good material. eBay stuff, I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, you you can bridge it down to here, and because the scoop isn't so deep, it won't lift. So so you can push it in, but this might bunch up right here, so you want to work from top to bottom, or bottom to top, whichever works for you. Alright, so the engine lid, you can wrap these pieces individually with scrap pieces. What you want to do is, on the engine lid, start with this middle part, and then let it drape down over here. So you're gonna have a little bit of tension that goes across this gap where these vents are. You want to take this light out, but you don't want to put too much stretch right here, because when you cut it where the light is, it's going to give it slack. So not too much slack and not too much tension, because when you give it slack, it's going to lay down here, and you're going to want to be able to lay this across flatly. What I would do is start from here, and then lay it down to here, and then lay it across this whole flat surface until you get down to these indents here. Then that's when you're going to want to make do the lay-in into this line. And then once again, like the hood, you come up to this point here or so, and then you stretch it across the hump, and then you should be good to go across there. These vent things, I would do is once you lay it down and it's all flat and you squeegee it out, you cut it right along this edge here, but angle your blade inwards. And you don't want to do the corners first, you want to do those last, and you want to do one line at a time. And then when you get to the corners, you cut it very carefully, very slowly. You don't want to mess up on this piece, otherwise you're gonna have to redo the whole trunk. What you want to do is take that grill out and that grill out, and you have to decide if you want to do it in one piece from here to there, or two pieces from there to there, and then the next one from just that flat rectangular shape up top, and then the bottom is a separate piece on itself because it's a back lip. Now you're gonna want to prep with inlays. So I inlay here, and then I inlay up here. You have to know how to use knifeless tape. Then I laid knifeless tape along this line here and along this line here, and I only cut the piece so that it hangs over about this much and hangs down here about this much. This part down here is a little tricky. You don't want to stretch it into there because it could lift. So what you want to do is inlay up here, and then you knifeless tape that part, the arch, and then right here you cut this to have a flap, and then you wrap the flap into the little corner there. You can use this part as a base as well, so you have this all laid flat. You leave the other side by itself and you don't mess with it. You work one side at a time. You work this side, so you just stretch that way and pull, or stretch and pull up and down at the same time. So you need two people. If you're just doing with one, then go ahead and just pull it this way as best as you can, but mostly pull it that way. You're gonna have wrinkle lines going there and there, so what you want to do is reach in, pull up, and you get rid of those wrinkle lines. That's basically it, and then you can stretch up here that way and that way, and then you're all set. And then you can just pull the knifeless tape and lay this piece over there and pull that knifeless tape. The bottom, you'll have inlays all up on the bottom part, and then you just lay the flat piece all across the top, and you cut and then pull the tape, and that's it. That's the bumper in the back. Over here on this side, with the so this side doesn't have the antenna. That's the complication. It just has the gas cap. So what you want to do is wrap the gas cap first, cut the gas cap out. Okay, once you're happy with your gas cap, that's when you do the big piece so you don't mess up, and then you can just cut along the edge of the gas cap and fold it in. And if you accidentally cut your gas cap, you only have to use a small piece to recut it. So yeah, that's about it for the whole car. So alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope it helps you if you're trying to wrap your own MR2. Let me know in the comments if you have any other suggestions or any other questions. I will definitely answer them on how to wrap this particular vehicle. Alright, please give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.